This is why I left the United States when I was 21 years old and I never went back. So, growing up, I had always heard stories about other countries. Like other countries, the people are starving, they're not happy, they're dying to get to the United States and I had always heard stories like that. So, I had imagined these other countries as like, a third world as they call it. But as I was 12, 13 years old, around that age, my older brother, he had traveled to Dominican Republic, Panama, these other Latin American countries in Central America. And when he came back, he would tell us these stories. He would be like, yeah, I went to Panama and I was hanging out with the low income people. Because there's rich people in every country, but he was hanging out with the average Panamanian or Dominican or wherever he went. And he would tell us these stories. He'd be like, yeah, I had friends that sold coconuts for a living. They sold bananas. They worked at a little concession stand and they sold fruit in the street. And they'd work half a day. They'd work in the morning and then in the afternoon they'd get off work, push around their little fruit cart or whatever. Then we'd all walk to the beach together. Everyone would be off work. And then we'd all go to the beach and play volleyball and swim. And, we'd all go down with their basketball shorts and bathing suit and flip-flops or whatever. And it was such a chill life. And these were people who didn't even make that much money. They just sold fruit for a living or whatever. And when I heard these stories as a kid, the way he described it was these people were happy. They were living a simple life. Yeah, they didn't drive Lamborghinis. Yeah, they didn't have 17-story houses. But they were having this free life. Like they get off work and go to the beach, And I heard those stories. So I always thought, like as a kid, like, wow, it'd be so cool to go to one of those countries and see what these people are like. So as I got older, my brother, he ended up moving out of the country. He moved to a country in South America. And he explained to me, he said, hey, now that the internet is real popular, a lot of Americans are leaving the United States and they're getting online jobs and living in other countries, but you only have to work a couple hours a day because, you don't need that much money to survive. And you can just wake up and work a couple hours online and then live the rest of your day and hang out with the locals and try the food. So when I was like 17 or 18, I was like, man, that sounds so cool. I want to do it. So I made it my goal to leave the United States. And by the time I was about 19 years old, I was working a dead-end job. Like by the end of the month, I had no money left. No matter how much I worked in the United States, even when I was making really good money, by the end of the month, I had no money. Whatever it was, the food, the expenses, I had no money. So I asked my brother, how much money do I need to go visit you in South America? He's like, well, if you come to my apartment, you can live with me for a couple months. All you really need is money for like food, maybe $100 a month, and your flight. So you need like $800, right? $600 flight and a couple $100 for food. So I saved up some money and I went to South America for what the plan was to go for 3 months to max out that 90-day visa. And I did it. I loved it. I went to the cold part of South America where there's the Andes Mountains, right? And when I went there, I saw that locals were living normal lives. Like no one there was starving. There was no homeless people. There was a couple here and there, but it was not like the States. Everyone there had normal lives. In fact, it was more normal than the States. I was confused. I was like, wait, where's all the homeless people? Where's all the street beggars? Where's all the people who are strung out on stuff? There was none of them over there. They were all working normal jobs. Some of them had 2, 3 paid off houses. Some of them had 5 cars. Some of them had not a lot, but they had free time. Even I had some friends who were young. Even my friends who didn't have like they're young, they're in their 20s. They were working like normal little part-time jobs and they could take off whenever they want. We'd go on little vacations and stuff. And I made lots of friends over there. And I was like, man, I want to live this life. I don't care if I have to get a normal job and work in this economy or if I'm able to get an online job and earn dollars. I don't care. I'll live here because I like the life over here. Even the locals who earn local wages have a great life. I don't care. I want to leave the States for the experience. I don't care if I have to work 4 days a week over here. I'm going to do it. If I have to sell bananas in the street, I'm going to do that. Because even if I'm selling bananas in the street here or I'm working for a big tech company or whatever I do over here, I'm going to get to experience another life that I can't experience in the States. And that's what I did. I literally called my dad. I was like, hey, sell my car in the States. I'm not coming back. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, put it up for sale. He starts vacuuming out my car, getting ready to sell it and stuff. And I was going to stay. I even had a 2-way flight. I just was like, I'm not getting on that second flight. And that was a plan. I ended up coming back to the States for whatever reason. And I got in like a car wreck and stuff in the States, and some bad stuff happened with that car wreck. My friend almost died. He went into a 2-week coma, and that basically ruined my plans. I was like, man, like, I don't want to leave the States now because of me, I got in this car wreck, and now my friend is probably going to be in a coma for the rest of his life. Like, I don't deserve to leave the US and have this great life if it's my fault that my friend is not going to wake up. I need to be with him till he one day recovers or whatever. Like, I don't deserve the life of living a great life in another country when it's my fault that this kid, 13-year-old kid, just got in a coma because I took a bad turn on a corner or whatever, you know? So I was like, I'm just going to stay in the States. So I'm 19, 20 years old in the States. He wakes up from the coma. He has a full recovery. I start working. I start thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to move to another country? What am I going to do for work? I started just getting caught up with the daily life of being in the States. You know, your time flies by so fast. You're working. Before you know it, 2 years pass by and you're like, crap, what am I doing here? So I remember, like, I was 19, I was 20, then I was 21, and I was like, dude, years are passing by and I'm supposed to be in South America right now, but I keep getting stuck here in the States because I keep getting more job opportunities. Like, I would say, I'm fixing to move to South America, and boom, another job opportunity would arise. Hey, I'll give you a raise. Hey, we got this good job opportunity. And something would always happen to prevent me from leaving the States. It was like I was stuck in the Truman Show. Like, every time the guy on the Truman Show, Jim Carrey or whatever, would try to escape, they would always say stuff like, oh, you can't go in water. Oh, you can't leave this city. There's a roadblock. That's how I felt. It was a real life Truman Show. So to fight against it, I bought the plane ticket with no thought. I said, I'm buying the plane ticket for 6 months in advance, and I'm going. I don't care if I have any money or not, I'm going. And by that time, I started making TikTok videos. I was like, hey guys, I'm moving to South America, blah, blah, blah. My videos started actually making money. So I knew if my videos were making money in the United States, they're going to perform better in South America because it's going to be more interesting. So that was kind of plan A, was do social media. Plan B was just get an online teaching English job. And that was going to be plan B. But my goal was, I'm moving. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going there. So I bought the plane ticket. That's what I did. Then I started kind of traveling around the United States in my car, sleeping in my car. I did a little DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that or whatever while I'm sleeping in my car, because I already knew I was leaving the States, so I didn't care. I didn't want to have any rent, any contracts with an apartment, so I just slept in my car, made content doing that. That content made me some pretty good money. But yeah, like, I had friends tell me stuff like, why are you going down there? You're going to die. The cartel's going to get you. You're going to get bitten by bugs. There's all sorts of this dumb gossip of stuff that I've already heard ever since I was a kid. And I knew it was all lies. I knew it was all just ignorant. People who are ignorant. They've never traveled before. And all they're doing is repeating the same bull crap that they heard from their parents and their grandparents about these other countries that are not true. They're all lies. Because I had already been there when I was 19 and it was not what they said. So I was locked in, buddy. I was locked in. So that's what happened. The time got closer. I started getting excited. Boom, I get on the flight and I'm gone. I moved over there. Now I'm 21 years old, living in a country all by myself. My brother he was in the States at the time, so I was by myself. I made friends in the street. I made friends in different locations. And within 6 months, I met this girl and we started talking, and I really liked her. She was modest. She wore dresses, flower dresses. She was just a human that was unreal to me. Till this day, I still think my wife's not a real person. I think she's like, I don't know. She's like an angel or something. She's not real to me. Like, when I see her, I think I'm in a dream. But yeah, so that was it. That's the story. And like, my friends and family, you know, till this day, you know, I have people who say stuff like, you should come to the States and work a 9 to 5 and save up money for 10 years. Then you can go back to South America and you'll buy a big mansion. Like, they say all these dumb stuff, but I'm never going back to the States to do that. I don't care. I have a small paid off house in South America and I have my free time. I have my freedom. Your time is your biggest asset, and that's what I have. I might go back to the States one day and work for like a year or something, but my main goal is to do social media. Maybe write a book. Well, we have a book on Amazon now. But anyways, my main goal is to to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. No, just kidding. My main goal is like, internet is the future. So I'm going to export coffee to the United States. I'm going to do all sorts of stuff. I'm going to do what I have to do. Worst case scenario, I got to buy some chickens and eat eggs for the rest of my life. Worst case scenario, I got to eat eggs for the rest of my life. Maybe I'll build a fish pond and eat ducks, eggs, chickens, and rabbits. Like, that's worst case scenario. But I'll be with my wife and my son every day. Waking up, drinking coffee, and getting some kisses from your wife, that's the life goal. That's why I left the U.S., because I have free time over there. I can drive around my little $1,000 motorcycle, got my little Suzuki car that gets 60 miles a gallon. I fill it up once a week for $10. Like, my life is complete. And I'm only 26. I have time. I'm only 26. I'm not even in my prime. A man is in his prime when he's like 35. So yes, I have time to grow wealth. If I want to get a big mansion over there one day or something, like, bro, relax. I'm 26. That's why I left the United States. I'm living a great life over there. I don't really try to convince people to go over there anymore, because if you're humble and you're an adventurous person, like, something in life will lead you to go over there, to go to another country. Like, I don't have to sit here and convince people. I'm no longer trying to prove my point. I used to be obsessed with trying to convince people how amazing life is in other countries. But at this point, the ignorant people can stay ignorant. The adventurous people can explore and get life's blessings that come to them. Because when you have love in your heart and you're open-minded, you get the blessings and you get the benefit of the way you act. And I don't want to try to convince ignorant people how amazing life is there. They can sit in their dungeons in the States and rot in their luxuries and be depressed. You guys who are adventurous and you want to see the world, you have everything coming for you, and you're going to love it. That's why I left the United States, and I'm never going back. You guys have a good day, and subscribe if you want to see my next video. Also, put a comment down if you want some more stories, like how I met my wife, or how this or how that, whatever. Actually, I already have a video on how I met my wife. She was working in the cornfield, and I was like, and her mom was like, no!